Hello! Parts of this video you are about to watch have been shot and they are being shown out of order because of some surprises that came up and some unexpected things that came up during the course of the video. So if continuity does not match perfectly, that's the reason why. And I'll let you figure out what happened and how it went. And here we go with our video. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it, and I got some swell stuff to talk about here. The friendly neighborhood mail lady has indeed hooked a brother up, as well as a fellow named Jake Goldberg from 3D Folios, or I think is now called Radical Folios. I've shown you some of the slipcases that I've gotten from him. Some really cool ones with some cool designs, a variety of things. Some 3D printed plastic, and that's what you get, or whatever the 3D printed stuff is, resin. Some 3D printed with some cloth stuff added in. They got more elaborate, and they still came simply and stuff like that. But Jake Goldberg is now in the publishing business, the publishing game, and I think I get the feeling that's the true passion. But Perfect Player Press is here. Fine. High quality, limited edition books. You might even call them luxury edition. Fine press. I don't know all the right words or what you might call them. But I got a little email in the mail, and originally on October the 16th, talking about a new publishing business, a company called Perfect Player Press. And Jake Goldberg was going to start publishing books, starting with a short story. And I think that at least the beginning, the focus is going to be on short stories and novellas, and the goal is 3 or 4 a year. At least that's what I read with my eye. But Perfect Player Press immediately caught my attention when the first book announced was going to be a short story by Richard Connell called The Most Dangerous Game. And it's a very old story that you may have read and you may have heard of, but if you haven't heard of it, you've definitely been exposed to the concept. 1924 story. And we'll talk about the book in a little bit here, in the story a little bit here, but a fantastic story about man hunting men. And there have been all sorts of movies that have kind of adopted this story, this short story, and changed it, and they do it in different ways. But anyway, he's announced he's going to be publishing this story in a couple of editions, a premium numbered edition and a standard numbered edition. The premium was going to be $225, limited to 150 copies. The standard edition is going to be $125, and I didn't have to read very far at all to decide to mash them buttons and order myself a premium numbered edition. But Perfect Player Press, he sent this email out and he said some basic concepts that I am going to implement when I start up a publishing company, and now he has. One is that he's going to design books in a way that he would want to have them on his own shelf. 2, he's going to only make books that he has read and loved, which sounds like a good idea too. Although it's not exclusive, and it doesn't have to be. But hey, you know what you're publishing if you've read and loved them. And if I'm going to start a business, why not try to focus on things that I know and love? I like that idea too. And then finally, that he would be selling books at a price that he would be willing to pay. And while that is very subjective, I do sure enough appreciate being able to afford and be willing to pay the freight for something that I want. So when The Most Dangerous Game was announced, instantly I bought. I love the story, and I'm really excited to see what he has done with this. So the package has come in the mailbox. And right off the bat, the very first thing that I look for is how well a publisher or a shipper or a seller protects the thing that I'm paying for. And I paid $225 for this book, and I definitely don't want it to be all busted up. Now, these books are hand sewn, hand bound. and using quality papers and a lot of hand baking means that there will be some variations from one to the next. And what we've seen a lot of times with handmade stuff is there are deviations and variations and what you might call character to some of them. And I haven't seen this, so I don't know what we're getting into, but handmade stuff tends to be like that. So let's look. I almost threw something down. We got paper, and then I picked this up, and I don't know what's in here. Stay tuned. After the video, I will show you what this little surprise was. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Included is the actual book that I actually bought. Let's open this up and see what it looked like. And I'm assuming this is what I have told you that it is. But let's open it up. Thank you so much. I surely appreciate it. Here's what I actually bought, all wrapped up and nicely. The short story, The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell, originally published in 1924. But we got it wrapped in this plastic and perfect player press sticker. I need to start, some of these publishers will send stickers that they hold their stuff down with. Some of my favorite ones. And one of these days I need to send a message and try to buy a few stickers with a paper back so I could stick them places where I want to stick them. I like stickers and I like sticking them places. Sometimes I can salvage them from the covers or the plastic or the wrappers or the paper, but sometimes I cannot. I will try to save this one because I like stickers. Now let's take this out and we'll show you all about it. So first of all, here is a letter. Welcome to Perfect Player Press. A letter on a beautiful sort of paper. I'm not sure what it is, but it feels good. I read Jake's excellent mission statement in the letter, and I'm going to show it to you, but I'm going to slide it in at the end of the video as well. So we'll move on to the unboxing and stay tuned to read all about Jake's plans for Perfect Player Press. And once again, back to our regularly scheduled program and back to the future. So I'll save this paper with my first book from Perfect Player Press, and it is a premium numbered edition of The Most Dangerous Game. And here I love it when I get short stories in hardcovers and slipcases, and I can actually see on the spine what the story is. That's a lot of reading. I read. I usually don't read out loud though, so it's all. But let's look at a little bit about this book. The slipcase and the boards of the book, I think, were called handmade Lokta paper. And if you just look, let's show you what it all looks like. On our slipcase, this handmade Lokta paper, it's got what sticks out a skull. And I don't know what you would call that. An extended skull? What do you call that? The skull sticks out. It doesn't stick in, it sticks out. So I'm assuming that from the inside you press it out as opposed to the outside. But a beautiful slipcase. Now the slipcase, for those of you who like to put your books on the shelf the wrong way, the spine of the slipcase doesn't have the title of the book. And I put my books on the shelf the right way. Just joking, but I do. It is true. The spine of the book out, that's how I display my stuff. I just like the way it looks. So that's one thing to consider, and it's good for me, but maybe others might want spine labeling. But let's just look at this slipcase. You see, I showed you the other one. This one here also thick paper, but it looks so good, and I don't feel it pressed out from the inside, so I don't know how you get it to stick out like that. It's a trade secret, but a quality slipcase that I'm very glad to have. And usually, if I get to choose between a book with a slipcase and without, even if I got to pay more, which of course you probably would, if I can, I will choose to get the one with the slipcase, period. That's just my preference. But let's look at this, man. This is what I think you call a Braidel binding, and the spine is slightly different texture of paper than the boards are. So let's see if you can see that here. And while I'm showing you that, the Braidel binding, you can see the boards are sitting on top of the spine. I don't know all the terminology, but look at this. It is slightly embossed, this label, the most dangerous game, and it looks so good. So there's my book. It is beautiful. There is, look at there, wow. Handmade stuff is so cool when it's done well, and I don't know how well you can see it, but looking at that, that sewn binding in there, it looks so cool. It looks handmade. I mean, not as an insult or anything like that, but you see the deckled page edges. You see, gosh, it's so cool. It feels like old quality. And the end papers, Hanamule Bugra. I think that's what they were. I'm sure I'm wrong. Hanamule Bugra, I think is what they were, end papers. So quality, thick, textured end papers. And the end papers themselves are hand sewn into the book. Now I laugh because that's so cool, and I'm sure it's done. That's why I'm laughing. I'm sure it's done, but I've never ever seen it. I've never seen hand sewn end papers. Again, I laugh because I'm sure other people do it, and all of you have seen it many times, and I'm the dummy in the room who's never seen it. But that is so cool. Hand sewn end papers, and again, I don't know how rare it is, but this thing is printed letterpress, and the paper is called Magnani Pessia, I guess. I don't pronounce these things goodly, but I'm trying to show you what it looks like, what I see. Those page edges, man, it looks so cool. Such fine work. And this is my first exposure. Holy cow. Man, I'm fawning over this. I cannot get over what I'm holding and what I'm feeling. The texture of this paper. There are hand-drawn watercolors by the artist Brett Welldale, I'm thinking is how you pronounce it. But look at here. Just look at here. And I don't know if you can see that, but this paper feels flat out amazing. And it's letterpress. The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell. And gosh, just feel the texture on there. Holy cow. Illustrated by Brett Welldale. Perfect Player Press 2025. And it's limited to a total of 200 copies, 150 of the premium and 50 of the standard, which was cheaper. And he talked about it a little bit there. So this edition was $225. You're holding the inaugural publication of Perfect Player Press. And I think there's still some available. I'll put a link in the description so you can order yourself one. The Most Dangerous Game, limited to 200 total numbered copies. It was designed and handcrafted by Jacob Paul Goldberg, printed on Magnani Pessia 130 GSM paper, with the text letterpress printed by Pat Randall and Ellen Bills at Nomad Letterpress. Illustrations are original hand-drawn works by Brett Welldale. This is copy number 3 of 200. And when I placed the order, I saw that it was available. I ordered it just as fast as I could. And either I sent the message to Jake or he sent the message to me. I don't recall which. But Jake asked me, hey, do you have a preference on your number? Because there are rights associated with these. And rights are cool. I love rights. One of the downsides that people maybe don't like is if you don't order the next book, well, you lose your rights. Naturally. I like rights because I like to be able to have the option to buy the next one should I want it, or should I be able to buy it. I like that option. But I can also accept the fact that if I don't buy it, then I lose the rights. So I get it. That might hurt because I might want to keep this number and only buy the books I want and always have my number, but that really doesn't make sense. The next guy buys book number 2, gets number 3 and says, well, I want to get number 3 again. So that's the way it goes. But I love it. I love the rights option. I love the fact that this is number 3. So I sent him, and I forgot, because he asked, you got a preference on your number? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I've asked for a number before, and the publisher says, sorry, that one's taken. So I said, I want 3, and 13, and maybe 44. So I gave him like 4 numbers that I liked. And I said, in that order. And I figured 3 was the first one, but I didn't know for sure if I would qualify for number 3. So I did, and I sure appreciate it. Glad to have it. And man, this is just so nice. There is the text of the story. The Most Dangerous Game is a short story, and it's a fantastic one. And while I show you, golly, man, the paper, the texture, the thickness, the letterpress printing is just unbelievable. The deckled edges, and dang it, it looks so good. Gosh darn it, it just looks so good. You can see that edge and how it's designed. But for those of you who haven't read this short story, it is a fantastic one. And there's at the beginning, there's this hunter, a famous hunter named Sanger Rainsfield from New York City. And Sanger Rainsfield is heading on a cruise going to Rio. And the next stop would be to go on to the Amazon. He's going jaguar hunting. And while they're in the Caribbean, they're going past this island that they call Ship Trap Island. And it's one of those ominous, scary islands. And the people that go by, they can't wait to get on by and pass it up. They don't like it. They're happy to see it far, far behind because it's Ship Trap Island for a reason. A lot of ships get hung up there. And there's whispers and rumors of the bad things that might or might not happen. But nothing good about it. And so Sanger Rainsfield hears some gunshots and stumbles around and falls off the ship and ends up swimming to this island, this Ship Trap Island. He goes up to a great big house, knocks on the door, hoping for some help. And this scary looking guy named Ivan answers the door, points a gun at Sanger Rainsfield, and Sanger's like, whoa, 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 I mean no harm. I fell off overboard and I just need some dry clothes and I'll get out of your hair just as quickly as I can. And in that process, having a gun pointed at you, suddenly the General Zaroff comes down the stairs, and he knows Sanger Rainsfield. He's a big hunter too. He loves the hunt. He's fanatic with hunting. He's read works by Sanger Rainsfield. And he says, hey, forgive my friend Ivan. He's deaf and mute. He's a cassock just like me. And it turns out that the general was I think a czar, a Crimean czar or something like that. And the government regime changed. He ended up buying this island in the Caribbean and turning it into his private hunting sanctuary, where he would bring in the most beloved things and he would hunt them and kill them. He would travel over the world, and he got bored with hunting. He wanted more of a challenge. It got too easy for him. So here on this island, he has come up with a new game, the most dangerous game to hunt. And I won't tell you anything else about the story, except the most dangerous game. What could it be? What could it be? An animal that rationalizes and thinks and plans and schemes and learns and stuff like that. Has treachery and such. And there are lots and lots of movies that have come around that are either directly The Most Dangerous Game, the movie from the 30s, which it's hard to watch that movie knowing how great the story is and how they flub it all up, mess it all up by adding crap to the movie and trying to be too on the nose or on the... Anyway, the artwork is fantastic here. But my favorite version of the movie from this is kind of like ashamed. I'm ashamed to say it. But the movie Hard Target, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, is based in concept on this. The wealthy are hunting the most dangerous game. And Jean-Claude Van Damme gets hung up in something like that. So it's very loosely based, but I loved that movie. A guilty pleasure. I still enjoy watching it. I saw it at the theater and had a good time. But anyway, The Most Dangerous Game is a fantastic short story, a fantastic easy read. It is so much fun. It is the kind of story that sticks with you, and you see how much it has influenced storytelling in general over the years. But a fantastic book. And Jay Goldberg has knocked my socks off. I mean, if you could see it, my socks are literally off. They're off. I got no socks now. Not only are they off, but they're unusable. I'll have to replace them. The laundry gods don't get this pair, or none of this pair. But what I've gotten here is unbelievable. And I can't wait to see what Perfect Player Press comes up with next. I hope it's a story that I sure enough dig as much as this one. And there's a lot of short stories that are famous that I haven't read. And sometimes these kinds of things give me the opportunity to read them. And so if the next one is one that I haven't read, guess what? I'll probably read it. And I'll probably order it. Because this is so fine, so fantastic. Can't wait to see what comes up next. And if you're going to ask me, should you order this? The answer is yes. And if you don't have the money, sell something. Surely you got a body part you don't need anymore. Things around the house you don't need. The house, who knows? Yeah, figure it out. But fantastic. I love it. I'm so happy with this. Now I got to find a spot to put it that is expandable, because I hope to be able to get more number 3s from the Perfect Player Press to be able to add to the shelf and fit right next to the most dangerous game. And with that being said, I can think of no more lies to tell. Thank you, Jake Goldberg. And thank you for watching. I do truly appreciate it. C'est la vie, baby. Doo-doo. I'm sure you remember me promising to show you what the surprise addition in my package was, and here it is. And then after that, I'll also show you where I read the letter, the mission statement, and the explanation of Perfect Player Press, if you will, from Jake Goldberg. So thanks for staying tuned, and check this cool stuff out here. So I got paper, and inside the paper is a slipcase. Now let's see what this is all about. Hi Tim, thank you for all of your support. I've included a TASRHM slipcase for you. Now if there's one thing that I'm bad at, it's lots of words that combine to make something a title or a description or a name or something like that. And then on the internet, naturally, you don't want to type out the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre. So you put TASRHM, and it's a lot fewer buttons to push. But the reason I don't like it is because I'm dumb. I read that, and then I got to think. And I think, and then maybe I got to go say, is this that? And stuff like that. But the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre, also known on the internet, even by the author Philip Fracassi, because he seems to like long titles, TASRHM, is a novel. And in fact, my favorite novel by one of my favorite authors. And I think perhaps the best book that I've read in 2025. And so far, it's definitely the best book that I've read in 2025. But Jake Goldberg at Perfect Player Press also makes beautiful slipcases. And I've shown you some of them that I've bought from him here. But the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre in the trade edition. And I don't have the hardcover. Well, I said, yeah, I do. Duh. The hardcover's right here. Sorry. This is unexpected. I'm unprepared. But I do have the trade edition hardcover from Nightfire. And I put, if you couldn't tell, on my dust jacket here, I put a Brodart dust jacket protector, which makes the book bigger and often makes them not fit in slipcases. But as you saw a moment ago, and as you see now, it fits like a glove. And it comes right out. So let's look at this slipcase. First of all, this isn't cheap paper junk. This is substantial construction, and there are designs inside the design. I'm doing a video that I wasn't intending to do here, so bear with me. I'm sorry if you're looking for something else, but I wanted to show you what this is. Inside the white paper, first of all, you have this paper cover, and it's got a crinkly design. It almost feels like butcher paper. I'm sure there's something that you would call it. I don't know, but it's almost like butcher paper, but not quite. And then you have this knife design, which sticks out. In the Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre, I've done book reviews on the channel. You can check it out. I'll put a link in the description. But inside the paper, you see what looks like blood spatter. The top is cloth bound. The bottom is cloth. And then the sides are this beautiful paper. So thank you so much. This is prized. One of my favorite books by one of my favorite authors. And now I've got a beautiful slipcase. And I'm the kind of guy, hello, Cool J. I'm the kind of guy who says signed is always better. But I also say I want my books in a slipcase or a tray case any chance I can get. So thank you very much. This is fantastic. I sure do appreciate it. That is worth buying the book for anyway. Unexpected gift, sorry, but I digress. Hello, welcome to Perfect Player Press. This is their first initial offering, their first sale, first book, and it's finally here, The Most Dangerous Game. Now, I ordered this book. I think I originally ordered this book in October. I'm looking for the date to see if I wrote it down. I got the first email on October the 16th telling me about it. I don't think I could order on that date. I think it was maybe a week later or something like that. It went on sale October the 28th. Today is November the 13th. So in about 2 weeks from the book going on sale, I got it. And there are some things in this world that I love, and one of them is being able to order something, pre-order something, and getting it quickly. It's a very quick turnaround. I wish a lot more publishers had the ability to sell books when they're ready to ship books. But I want to thank everyone for buying the book. Starting a press has been a dream of mine for many years, and all of you have made that possible. This has truly been a one-man job. Aside from the printing of the books, I did absolutely everything with my own hands. Not only that, but I had to get very creative with the way I did things. At the beginning, I owned one piece of book binding equipment, a nipping press. It quickly became apparent that paper cutting would be extremely helpful. So now I currently own 2 pieces of legitimate book binding equipment. With the success of The Most Dangerous Game, I'll be investing in more equipment in an effort to make the books even better and more beautiful. Although I will say that being limited in a lot of areas has been quite helpful. It forced me to work harder and think more creatively. Overall, I am very happy with how the book turned out. It was my first mass-produced book, and for that I am happy. It's not perfect, and there are things I would do differently if I had the chance, but overall I'm pleased. A note on materials. The book and slipcase are covered in handmade paper. Due to the nature of this particular paper, there will be imperfections such as slight fraying, discoloration, and some inclusions. This paper was chosen specifically for this book to reflect the environment our protagonist experiences on the island. Moving forward, as mentioned, I will be investing in more equipment. I'm currently working on the next project that will be announced soon. As far as limitations and titles and things, it's already up in the air until I figure things out and learn what people want. I know exactly the kind of books I'd like to make, but ultimately it also depends on what everyone else wants. I know that I had a standard edition with a limitation lower than a premium edition. Please bear with me as I work these things out. I had ideas that I thought I could make work, but soon realized that it wouldn't be possible. My goal is to make truly great books at a cost that isn't too much of a hindrance. I also want to make the books as accessible as possible. As a one-man operation, it gets very tricky. I don't know how many books I can sell. It takes me a long time to design and hand make each book. There are a ton of considerations, not to mention title selection. Errata. There should be a paragraph break on page 2, line 13. I apologize about this. I used a not-so-great software program to lay out this first book. I have since moved on to something else that gives me much greater control over the layout process. Jake Goldberg at Perfect Player Press. TASAHM. What the fuck is that? Yeah.